the most touching love letters of all time. These letters are filled with words of love and intense passion in love. Love is an eternal topic, bringing the sweetness of happiness and sadness when having to part. No matter what era, lines filled with love between couples make everyone's heart flutter. In the past, when modern technology was not really developed, handwritten letters were considered the most effective tool to express feelings. Let's review a few excerpts from the love letters considered the best of all time, through the list compiled by Glamour below. Emperor Napoleon writes a letter to Josephine. In the life of Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, there was a long list of women, but he only loved one woman passionately for the rest of his life, the widow Josephine. Here is an excerpt from one of Napoleon's letters to Josephine. Since I left you, I have always felt depressed. Happiness is being with you. I can't stop thinking about your caresses, your tears, your affection. Your charm is beyond compare. It constantly burns and lights a fire in my heart. When all the worries around me disappear, what worries me is whether I can spend all my time with you, loving only you and thinking about the happiness of being able to express it to you. Beethoven's love letter to Immortal Beloved. Before his death, the genius composer Ludwig van Beethoven left a letter to the woman he called Immortal Beloved, with the affectionate words, "My angel, my all, my very self." The letter reads, "Even though I am still lying in bed, my mind is always on you, my eternal lover. There are times of joy, sadness, and waiting, wondering if fate will hear our words. I have decided to leave you until I can return to your arms, to say that I have truly returned to you, bringing my soul to wrap around you in the invisible world. At that time, you will understand my loyalty. No one can hold my heart. Never. Calm down. Love me. Today. Yesterday. The tears of missing you, you are all mine. Continue to love me. Never misjudge the loyal heart of your lover. Forever mine, forever yours, forever ours." Frida Kahlo's love letter to Diego Rivera. Frida Kahlo is a famous female painter in the history of world painting. She married Diego Rivera, a Mexican mural painter. Despite her husband's unfaithfulness, Frida Kahlo still wrote letters full of love to him. One of the letters that Frida Kahlo wrote read, "Nothing can compare to your hands and your eyes. My body is filled with your image day after day. You are the mirror in the darkness, the glimmer of light in my life. Your arms are where my life is warmed. All my joy is when I see you and feel all my nerves tingling for you." Georgia O'Keeffe's love letter to Alfred Stieglitz. Georgia O'Keeffe is an American painter who specializes in abstract works. She married Alfred Stieglitz, a photographer and art gallery director in 1916. In many letters to her husband, Georgia O'Keeffe expressed her intense love. Among them was the passage, "My love, I am crazy with desire to have you. If you do not come tomorrow, I do not know how I can wait for you. I wonder, do you crave me the way I feel now? The kisses, the passion, the weakness seem to melt together, entwined tightly." French Emperor Napoleon and Josephine de Beauharnais. A ruthless commander on the battlefield like French Emperor Napoleon was famous for being a gentle man in love. With his first wife Josephine, although Napoleon later divorced her because she could not have children, he continued to write to her. When they first got married, just a few days after the wedding, Napoleon had to go to war. For many months after that, he continuously wrote to his wife to express his deep longing. In a letter dated 17th of July, 1796, Napoleon wrote, "Since I left you, I have been sad. My happiness is to be with you. I live in constant longing for you, your tenderness, your tears, your love. Josephine's charm is unparalleled. It constantly kindles a fire that burns in my heart. When I am separated from that beauty, that tenderness, I know how I must pass each hour and each minute, when I can only love you and think of the happiness of being with you. Do I prove anything to you by saying so? Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Henry VIII of England is famous for I had a stormy love affair with the beautiful Anne Boleyn. At first, the king courted his older sister, but then his heart strayed towards his younger sister. Because the king already had a queen at that time, Anne could only be his lover. But the ambitious young girl refused. She wanted to be queen. Because of his love for Anne, the king changed the religious system of England at that time, all just to please the beauty, so that she could become queen in a legitimate way. The love story of the king and the young girl Anne Boleyn at that time was a heaven-shaking event for all of Europe. In his letter to Anne in 1527, Henry VIII was very giving in. I beg you to tell me what you intend when you plant the seeds of love between us. I must know the answer. I have been suffering for more than a year now from this feeling, and I am still not sure whether I can find a place in your heart. British scientists Charles Darwin and Emma Wedgwood. Charles Darwin, the author of The Theory of Evolution, once wrote a long list of the gains and losses of marriage, and finally, he decided to propose to his cousin, Emma Wedgwood. Their married life was very happy. Charles wrote a letter to Emma a few days before their wedding in 1839. I hope you will be happy, because I know I will be. Dear Emma, I sincerely pray that you will never regret this decision. I will add good things to your life, starting from this coming Tuesday. Dear future wife, God bless you. French writer Honoré de Balzac and Evelina Hanska. In the late 1820s, Countess Evelina Hanska began reading Balzac's novels. In 1832, she began sending him her first letter. This was the beginning of a correspondence that lasted for a decade. Gone mad for you, mad as can be. I cannot think of anything coherently without your image intervening. My imagination takes me to you. It is a terrible conflict, no longer life. I have never lived like this. You have destroyed everything. I feel stupid and happy at the same time, and so I let myself think of you. I am swallowed up by sadness, imprisoned in 1,000 threads. Dear Eva, you do not know. French writer Victor Hugo and Adèle Fouché. The young man, Victor, fell in love with his childhood friend, Adèle Fouché. However, Victor's mother did not want her son to marry this girl. The lovers secretly engaged and waited until Victor's mother passed away to officially marry. Throughout his life, Victor Hugo had affairs with many women, even prostitutes, but his marriage with his wife remained intact until her death. In a letter written during their love and dating, Victor Hugo confessed, "My dear, when two souls seek each other, no matter how far apart they are, they will eventually find each other, both pure and fierce. They will be together, starting from the earth and reaching eternity in heaven. In life, whoever has ever loved with all their heart and devoted themselves to love will understand that the greatest sacrifice is also the sweetest happiness. Your soul loves with the purity of an angel, and perhaps you can only love an angel. That makes me afraid." Victor Hugo wrote many tearful love letters to the woman he loved, Adèle Fouché. Despite the objections of both families, Victor Hugo and Adèle Fouché were determined to be together. Because of the distance between them, Victor Hugo sent his passionate love through letters to his beloved. This is an excerpt from the letter that Victor Hugo sent to his darling in 1821. "My dear, even though we are lost in the crowd, when two souls have found each other, this harmony will burn, originating from earth and soaring forever to heaven.